If you don't want to be rushing and throwing together graphics at the last minute because you suddenly realize that you need something, then you need to be planning out what graphics your business needs. You really need to get clear on exactly what your business needs when it comes to graphics so that you can make a really clear plan and you can take time to create the graphics you need without feeling rushed and overwhelmed because, oh, I suddenly need this thing for tomorrow and I haven't created it. Instead, you can plan it all out, work on it strategically, take your time with it, and do a good job. You also need to get clear on what it is that your business actually needs, not just doing what everyone else does, not just creating some business cards because isn't that what you're supposed to do when you have a business, but you never actually use business cards because you never actually go to places where you would need them? You really need to think about what is important for you. So for example, if you need to send your clients a price list, then that's something that you need to work on for your business. But another business might not need something like that. So it's so important to work out what does your business actually need. Every brand is different, so let's make a plan. The first step to working out what graphics your business needs is working out your process. Really looking at the process of your business. So how you're promoting, then how you're interacting, what's the journey with your customer. You're really mapping out every touch point. So what we can do is categorize this into two sections. We can look at promotional graphics, so things to just get yourself out there and promote your business. And then interaction graphics, so graphics that are related to actually interacting with your customer. So what happens through that process as you interact with your customer and what different graphics you're actually going to need as you work with your customer or client. So looking at your promotional graphics, here you really need to think about all the different platforms and places that you are going to be that you want to create promotional graphics for. So what social media platforms are you on? Online, what places are you on? So do you have a website? Are you in other places online that are actual social media? What places do you hang out? Where are you present? So thinking about things like your email, your social media, your website, all those sorts of things. And then things that aren't online. So do you go to events? Do you go to markets? Anything that you do that's outside that online world, where do you interact? Where do you promote your business? I want to think about things like things that you would physically hand out, posters that you would hang up, social media graphics for the different platforms that you're on, graphics that you need to be able to use on your website, graphics that you're going to need in different emails, all those different places. So really just take the time to map out all the places that you are present when you're promoting your business. Then you have the interaction. So this is where you're thinking about that journey with your customer. So once somebody goes to buy something from you or start working with you, what are the different touch points that they have with you and the graphics you're going to need through that customer journey? So thinking about things like the emails, invoices, price lists, thank you cards, all those sort of things where you're interacting with somebody who's buying from you. So really take the time to think about this because sometimes we can easily overlook certain things and then you're working with someone, realize that you need something and you don't actually have it. So spend the time really thinking about maybe the most recent person that bought from you or the most recent client you had and thinking about all the different touch points you had with them and how you can actually work on different graphics to make that more branded. Now that you've considered every single touch point, you can get a little bit more specific about all the different graphics you need. This is where you can start really thinking about exactly what you need and how you're going to go about creating them. So really start to break it down. So for example, if you said that you needed graphics for Instagram, well, there's lots of different components to that. So you need your Instagram reel covers, you need your Instagram posts, carousels, and stories. So think about all the different things within that and what you're actually going to need. Maybe if you're doing a business card, you may need to think, well, I need to create a front and a back. All the different elements to it. So really spend the time thinking about that. Then once you've got your list, you're going to think about how you're going to create this. So have a think, is this something that you think you can completely DIY yourself? Do you need to completely outsource it and get someone else to design it? Or could you buy a template or different graphic elements that you could put together to create what you need to create? So really think about how you're going to go about actually creating these graphics. Then what I want you to do is actually prioritize them. So what you want to do is mark, is this a high priority that's urgent right now, something that's sort of medium priority, or something that's not too urgent? That way you can actually think about the order in which you're going to work on these. You don't just have this huge long list of things you need to work on, but you can start to think about what's the most important, what's going to be the most impactful, the things that I really want to be branded right now, and then what things can I work on a little bit later on that maybe what I've got right now is okay and I can get away with for a little bit longer. That way you're not going to feel rushed because you know that the things that are most important and imperative you can work on first, get them done, And then as you go, you can work on the other things that aren't quite as important. Now, obviously, you probably want everything branded, everything looking beautiful, but thinking about the priority is just going to help you get more organized so that you can put the things that are really the most urgent of all first. So you've got a bit of an order on when you're going to work on things. So for example, if you put on your list that you wanted to create some postcards, but you don't have an event for a few months where you'd actually need to hand them out, then that's not going to be quite as high a priority. Now, if you've got particular dates in mind, you may even want to date it so that you have in mind, I need to get this done by that particular time. But think about, well, what do I really know right now? So maybe you're like, well, I'm trying to show up on Instagram right now. I really need to get some graphics going for that and work on that. Also, if you're thinking about things like social media versus print and all that, you also want to think about what things need to be one and done. So maybe like a business card is something you just design once and it is done. Whereas something like Instagram graphics, you're probably going to want to work on some templates that you can then reuse and slightly adjust and change each time with different types of content. So now you have a clear plan of what it is that you need to work on, and you're going to feel so much more organized and have a bit more direction in creating graphics for your business. It's going to allow for a much smoother process, and you're not going to feel rushed. You're actually going to do a good job of these graphics. Now, if you'd like a little bit more guidance with this, I have a free graphics checklist, which basically gives you tables that you can fill in so you can neatly write out all your plan for exactly what graphics you need to create, their priority, and how you're going to create them. So if you'd like to download that for free, you can find the link to that in the description below.